Well, the problem with numbers is that they are supposed to be measuring, they're supposed to be an indicator of a social phenomenon, you know, like how well a university is performing. In what I have studied, it's how development progress is being made to reduce poverty and inequality. But the problem is that they begin to be used as a shorthand for describing the problem, and then the indicator begins to redefine what that problem is. So you have these Millennium Development Goals that were supposed to measure how the world was doing in ending poverty. And so we said, put every child in school, or make sure girls were in school enrolled as many as boys, as many girls were enrolled in school as boys. And the concept, for example, of gender empowerment became redefined as having as many girls in school as boys. But the concept of gender empowerment is so much bigger than that. I think that one of the problems with something like science policies is that it's very difficult to measure them in numbers, right? Because science policy is something very complicated. It's about priorities in the kinds of scientific research that you need, priorities in the kind of uses that you need, the amounts of money that you may want to allocate to different uses and things of that kind. There are long-term objectives, improvements in quality. These are all things that are difficult to measure. And so you end up using indicators that don't really express the problem very well. So in the development field, going back to what I've been studying, the Millennium Development Goals, the objective of expanding access to technological innovation became measured by the number of telephone lines that you had. You know, this is really not a very good measure of the whole problem, big challenge of poor countries having access to scientific innovation. I don't think a perfect indicator exists. I think this is the problem, that we are looking for this silver bullet, one number, and one number doesn't express the problem of society very well. Rankings are incredibly powerful. They create all kinds of incentives for people to try to do better in rankings. It creates competition. And that's why, you know, ranking, whether it's like ranking of universities, rankings of university departments, also rankings of countries, create this competition for countries to do well. But it can also distort the priorities of these countries or universities or whoever, because in order just to do well by that ranking, they do put too much emphasis on that one thing.